Welcome to Public Safety Talk Radio, the podcast for all of our heroes in public safety, including law enforcement professionals, firefighters, EMTs, corrections officers, healthcare workers, and more. The show is proud to be a part of the growing National Police Podcast Network. This episode is sponsored by Police Mortgage. Police Mortgage is a full-service mortgage company dedicated to serving police officers and first responders. Founded in 2008, Police Mortgage offers a variety of mortgage products tailored to meet the needs of those who serve and protect. Police Mortgage, for first responders who are second to none. I am Ken Bader, your host for Public Safety Talk Radio, and welcome back to the new season of Public Safety Talk Radio. And we are kicking it off with not only a great guest, a very knowledgeable guest, but a return guest, which I always love. It always seems like we get a better conversation each time they come back on, and that's always the benefit to the guest and not to me because I tell stupid jokes. But let me tell you about her. Her name is Shawn Thomas, and she is the founder and CEO of First Responder Conferences. She's a retired deputy from the King County Sheriff's Office in Seattle. She retired in 2022 after 25 years of service, but she still looks 25. Don't kid yourself. She was a wellness and resiliency detective and a therapy canine handler. And she also worked patrol and undercover. You know, I don't remember if we dug into that at all in the last time we had you. We'll have to dig into that undercover. I could say many more great things about Shawn, but let's get her on the show. Welcome, Shawn.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks for having me again.
My pleasure. and I had to have you on again. I was always really intrigued with first responder conferences and what you do with those events. But at least as an outsider, what I've noticed is you've really beefed those up. Not that they were poor before. I certainly don't want to suggest that, but it seems like there are more conferences, and I really like the speakers that you have coming up.
We're going to go to Galveston, Texas in December. So that will be a new place. It's not too far from Houston. We've been to Houston before, but we have a great bunch of people that are part of that conference as well. And then January will be Mesa, Arizona, which I think is our 6th or 7th conference. 6th, maybe. I'm not sure. We go back there every year in January because it's nice in Arizona in January.
Tell me about it.
And then
I've been to Arizona in July and August. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah,
Continue.
no, that's not a good time to go. And then February, I think it's our 7th year for Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is beautiful, nice place to visit. Not too far from me, so that's great. And in March, we're working on another conference in Dunwoody, the Marietta / Atlanta, Georgia area. We're trying to get that secured, and then it looks like we're going to go to Ocean City, which is, we have that every single year. That's a great conference, great people. And then April in Santa Barbara. So
that's closer to me.
Yeah, it's we usually have it in San Luis Obispo, but this year we're going to try to make it happen in Santa Barbara. And then in September, we have Delaware. September 2026, we have Delaware, which will be our first time going to Delaware.
So you're really enjoying your retirement then? Yes. Just hanging back.
Yes, I have so much free time. It's a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of work. I am constantly working on it. It's just me and a few volunteers that help. So really, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done. And I have volunteers that help, and I appreciate them, and without them there's no way that I can make it happen. And that's really why we try to pull in all these departments, right? We usually have like a co-host that is kind of leading and we're working with the co-host for the department. But then we also invite endorsing agencies. So those are agencies that want to be a part of the conference, that want to support it, that are making wellness a priority. And so we try to get as many endorsing agencies as involved as possible, because it really does take a tribe to make one of these conferences happen. So the more, the merrier. And if we can get these departments on board in hopes that they're really truly caring for their people,
Mhm.
That's what we want to see. We want to see them not just pat them on the back and say, "Oh yeah, we care about you," and what are they doing for them, right? So it's nice to get these different agencies involved and making the benefit or conference beneficial for everyone.
Exactly. As in, somebody that's planned and run events for several years. I've usually only done one or two a year, so I can't even imagine what it's like to try and do 10. I probably would just be doing that. Yeah, one event question, and maybe it's just for my own edification. It seems like you do a really nice job of putting these conferences in different places around the country. So if a police officer or firefighter can't be at one, they can say, "Well, but you're going to be here, in 8 months, fairly close, and I can get to that one." So there's some nice choices there. What process do you use to pick the locations? Is it more about, well, this department supports what we do, so let's work with them, or is it we haven't been, in the Midwest in a while, and this place is a good place. We'll try and do one there.
Yeah, no, we don't pick the places, they pick us.
Got
So
it.
we get contacted by agencies that want to make wellness a priority to bring a conference to their area. So if they're passionate about it and they want to make it happen, then we want to work with them to make it happen. And so um, that's how we get to where we're going. Because I don't have time to beat my head against the wall to get these people motivated if they're not in it, right? If they either they're into wellness or they're not. And so if they want to make it a priority, I want to make it a priority and we do whatever we can to make that happen.
Yeah, yeah, that's it's a great answer, especially because it's the truth, and I agree with that philosophy. Running the POCUA for 20 years, there were years where, hey, let's put it over here, and maybe we'll get more people. And then after a while, seeing that that didn't work, instead we said, okay, for the people that actually want to be with us, let's cater to them, and then whoever
Yeah.
else wants to join in, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, there's these bigger conferences all over the place, which I think is great. As many wellness conferences as possible, like the more the better. But they usually have it once a year in a place, and then they keep on going back or go to different places, which I think is cool.
Mhm.
So people can, you know, be in different areas and it's not in the same area every year. But yeah, for us, our conferences, I would say average anywhere from 150 to 300, just
Mhm.
depending on where we are and if we've been back there before. And then it's nice because it costs less, right, for the local people to send their people
Mhm.
rather than flying them across the country. So it's nice, and I think it helps with their training budgets to be able to, bring a conference to their area every year. So I think that's why we get some of those return
Mhm.
places. Number one, because they're passionate, and you have a group of people that are really doing the work behind the scenes. And then number two, these agencies like to be a part of it because again, it that keeps their budget or training funds that there's a lack of training funds, so obviously it's helping them by having a conference that's nearby and not having to pay all the expenses to go somewhere. It's
Right.
probably sucks for the first responder because they probably want to go somewhere. But sometimes it's nice just to stay home too.
Yeah, 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 you definitely, I think most people want to go to Hawaii or maybe Key West or what have you for a conference, but if the department is paying for it, that isn't always the case.
Well, you have some of those people that go to conferences that go to classes, so are they vacationers? Are they actually going to the conference? I don't know. I'm sure that they probably do a little bit of both, or but yeah, harder to do
Yeah.
when you're at home.
Yeah, I remember the first POCUA conference that we did. There were like five people from Maine. Most of them, I think, retired law enforcement, and I think we saw them at the reception. When we started, I think we saw him at breakfast, and then we're like, "Hey, where did those guys from Maine go?" And we didn't see him again until dinner, and then we didn't see him for the last day, which was kind of interesting. Anyhow, be that as it may, as I mentioned before, I'm looking at your speakers and I'm really impressed, and maybe I'm impressed because I know some of those folks, like Christy Warren from Firefighter Deconstructed does an amazing podcast, and we've worked with Scott and Liz Brown to launch the podcast based on their book Facing Evil: A Cop Story of Murder, Mayhem, and the Aftermath. Tell us a little bit about your speakers, your process in picking the speakers for your health and wellness topics, and how you go about really building those agendas.
Sure. So we have an online speaker form. So if anybody's interested in presenting, they can go onto our website and fill out the online speaker form, which prompts them to schedule a call with me. And so basically I have a call with whoever's interested. I try to vet them out the best as possible. And then if they're a good fit, then I try to plug them into a schedule. But when we have a conference in a certain area, I always talk to the co-host agency and say, do you have any recommended speakers? And if they do, they go through the same process. I try to vet them out. I try to plug them into the schedule. And then whatever we don't have locally, then I look at my national list, and those are speakers that, are interested in speaking elsewhere.
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. When you're looking, I mean, you're obviously passionate about health and wellness for first responders. So am I. I'm wearing my "Are You Okay" shirt today. So in terms of these events and working with different first responders, because I would assume in my limited experience that a firefighter or an EMT might be dealing with something a little bit different than, say, a police officer, and even two police officers aren't made the same. So what are some of the topics that you approach? Is it PTSI? Is it addiction? Is it what are some of the things that you hit upon and is there a subject that you make sure you hit upon every single conference?
So every conference is different, right? Because we have
Yeah.
those local speakers and we have those national speakers. And I try to, so the conference is for everyone, right? It's for fire, police, dispatch, corrections, military,
Hmm.
veterans, spouses, clinicians, family members. I mean, everyone's really welcome to attend.
Right.
What I focus on is overall wellness. So no, even if you're not a first responder, you'll be able to benefit from the information being provided. So when I take a look at the schedule, obviously I look at who's recommended and their presentations. And then I plug those in, and then whatever I don't have. So for instance, if I had a financial speaker locally, then I wouldn't look for a national financial speaker. I don't need
Mhm.
two financial speakers, right? Just because there are no breakouts, there are no workshops. Everyone sits in the same room, listens to the same presentations. So we bring in 8 to 10 speakers with different backgrounds and different topics. So that, like I said, that it could include, we try to include financial information because I think that's important, right? If you're not financially stable, then it causes stress.
Mhm.
And so, and then we want to talk about retirement and all that fun stuff. So I would say that we try to include a financial speaker. We always try to include a personal story with a post-traumatic growth. So not just like, hey, this is me, this is what happened to me, the end, right? This is how did you get to where
I'm
you are
still screwed up,
now?
eh?
Yeah. Yeah, so we like to include those personal stories because I think they connect with the audience. And then a lot of people will say, oh my gosh, that's me. Like I'm going through that. Like, how did this person get through? And they end up connecting with that person and being able to go through whatever process or whatever things that they're going through to get, to be healthy, right? So there's a lot of connection with the personal stories and the post-traumatic growth. Um, a lot of times we have clinicians or counselors or doctors or nutrition, metabolic type stuff. We have, anything that you can think of. We've had conversations about ketamine. We've had conversations
Mhm.
about neurofeedback. We've had conversations about, I mean, it's kind of just all over the place depending on where we go
Right.
and who's interested in speaking at what conference. But like I said, at the end of the day, I really try to balance out the schedule to include overall wellness and not overlap too much. So people are getting different education tools and resources.
What's some of the feedback that you're getting? Is it, wow, I never thought of that, Sean. Thanks for having that. Or next time, make sure you only have conferences at casinos. Yeah, or
Yeah.
as I've heard from some conferences like the Law Enforcement Survival Summit that the Wounded Blue puts on, they actually get people that come up and say, thank you. Yeah, I was in this space, some of them even suicidal, and this changed my whole perspective. What are you hearing from some of the attendees out there?
Yeah, every conference we have a surveyor evaluation, right? And a lot of times, I mean, the reason why I kept moving forward and having these conferences is because the feedback we were getting is this was super beneficial. I had no idea that, about some of these resources. And that's what's super nice about our conferences is, we have exhibitors that are actually inside the conference room with us. So they get to learn about what the first responders are going through to better serve those communities that they have a resource for, right? How are they to know how to help us if they don't know what's going on? So we keep them in the room. So we get a lot of good feedback about, hey, I had no idea that there was all these resources for first responders. And then really the reason that I kept on moving forward was when I get phone calls with telling me that the conference saved their life. Right?
Hmm.
Like, I mean, that's, if we can just help one person, that's all that matters. So that's why I continue to move forward and trying to make these conferences happen in different places, just because I know, and sometimes we don't hear for years. Like we have a conference in Cleveland and somebody filled out a speaker form. And when I had a conversation with them, they said, I went to your Columbus conference and that conference saved my life. And I was like, oh my goodness. So, yeah, what a great person to bring back to speak and tell their journey from where they were sitting in the seat to now,
Hmm.
what it looks like for them and how they went through that process and where they are now and how they can help other people. I mean, it's amazing, right? First responders are all about helping, right? And so and
Hmm.
giving back. So it's awesome. I truly enjoy hearing those personal stories.
Yeah, yeah, me too. And plus, you get to go to exotic places like Cleveland.
Yes, Cleveland, right? Amazing.
For all my friends in
Rock and
Ohio,
Roll Hall of Fame. Yay.
yeah. For all my friends in Ohio, and I do have a lot of friends in Ohio, I will say that Cleveland gets a bad rap. I've always had a good time in Cleveland,
Yeah,
and
I've been there. I mean, I did drive around in the dark at night, like to weird places, but I mean, where I've been in Cleveland, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
and the most important thing is just a short ride to the Football Hall of Fame in Canton. But so, one of there's a kind of a saying amongst, podcasters, that one of the reasons we do these podcasts is so we learn something. And we help our knowledge, and I always learn something from every podcast, every guest, every event that I've ever put on. What have you learned from these conferences? Is there like a number one thing that you're like, hey, in doing these conferences, wow, I never knew that before, and that's really important. Is there like a little gem that, really has come to you from running these conferences?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what I've learned, well, number one is we never network, right? We never we never get together and network anymore. And so I think it's nice that the conference, the way that we set them up is the attendees sit at rounds. We have breakfast together, lunch together, networking, social. So we're really socializing. We're talking amongst
Mhm.
each other, trying to find out what other departments are doing, getting to know other first responders. So just building that community. The other thing, like I said, is a lot of times people just don't know about the resources. There's so many resources.
Mhm.
And then a lot of times, like when we ask on the evaluation, how is this conference compared to others? And a lot of people say this is their first conference. And I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, this is our first wellness conference. Like, we've been doing these conferences since 2016, and I know several other people are doing conferences as well. So to find out that it's their first conference, like, on wellness, that just I mean, or any information from these departments, right? There's some departments that don't have peer support programs. There's some departments that don't have any wellness programs. And so I think that's kind of a shocker too, because, it's 2025. Why are we
Mhm.
not focused more on making this a priority?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that what I've seen in as an outsider over the last 5 years of doing public safety talk radio, while there's, certainly a lot of progress that still needs to be made, whether it's police departments or fire departments or what have you, I'm seeing more either have wellness programs or be open to sending people to conferences like yours. We may not have one or have the budget for it, but we have the budget to send people here or there. So are you seeing that as well?
Yeah. There's budgets are tight, right?
Yeah.
And wellness is not a top priority for a lot of these agencies, which, they may say it is, but I know that there are a lot of agencies out there that are making wellness a priority, but yeah, I just I find that it surprises me at every conference, especially when we're local, how many departments aren't in the room,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
you would think that something like, you would think that they would be all in about making their employees well. And we all know that if you're thriving, right, you're gonna probably not call in sick as much
Hmm.
and not, use your insurance as much. And so why are we not being more proactive about
Right. Right. Well, you're preaching to the choir on that one, Sean.
it? Yeah.
So as we begin to wrap up a little bit here, you're obviously passionate about this work. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing it in retirement, and you've been doing it for years now, I know. What is the best part of your what do you enjoy the most? Negotiating with hotels on $50
Oh
a
my
gallon
goodness, no.
coffee, or like I said, I've done a number of events. I know that routine. It's like
Yeah,
coffee, what?
yeah,
But
I know. It's funny that you say that because really the venue contracts are the worst, right? I hate that whole process trying to negotiate and just even these hotels are just gouging people. Like it's crazy. And I try to plead with them like, hey, this is for first responders and mental health and wellness. And, I've even had to bring up like suicide, how many suicides they've had in their area. Like, when are you not going to help, and work with us here? It's, I understand that they're a business and they're all about making money, but it's crazy trying to deal with these venues. But so yes, that's not my favorite part at all. If somebody else could do that for me, that would be great. No, I just really enjoy actually attending the conference, getting to know the people in the room that truly care. That I would say that the majority, probably 99% of the people in the room want to be there and not being voluntold to be there, right?
right.
So which means that these are my people, right? I love meeting the people that have the same passion that I do, that are trying to do the right thing, and helping themselves, helping their families, helping their coworkers. So just meeting the local people is makes my day. And then of course, when we get there and people say thank you so much for having this, that's it, right? That's all. It's just, it's something that is so I'm so grateful that we can be a part of it. They can be a part of it, and we get to meet amazing people throughout the United States.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I really appreciate the job that you're doing out there. To my knowledge, yours is the only conference that does bring in all first responders. There's a lot of conferences out there, but yours is the only one that I know of that will bring in everybody. And I think that having those different perspectives is really valuable. Plus, I know your plight. I know what it's like to plan and run an event and to run 10 of them a year. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you. God bless my husband for the support, like taking care of the dogs in the house and all the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, bring the dogs next time. Well, before we wrap up, you got a ton of first responder conferences out there for those people that want to attend, for those chiefs, those captains that want to send some people, for those folks that are qualified in health and wellness that want to speak at your conference. How best can they find first responder conferences out there?
I just threw our website. So it's www.one, so the number one, and then strc.org. So firstrc.org.
Awesome. And we'll, of course, put that link in the notes so people can just click on it and not have to remember the little acronym. But Sean, I know you're busy. You run a ton of conferences and you do an outstanding job at it. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you taking the time to do what you do. So thank you.
My pleasure. And thank you to all of you who have either watched or listened to this episode of Public Safety Talk Radio. And we'll be back with you next week with another great guest. Public Safety Talk Radio is produced by Bader Training and Consulting. Public Safety Talk Radio is also proud to be a part of the growing National Police Podcast Network. The National Police Podcast Network is a dedicated media network powered by the National Police Federal Credit Union, developed in partnership with experienced podcast professionals and public safety advocates. Learn more about the National Police Federal Credit Union at nationalpolicefcu.com.